Well, for the first time, the head of the RNC is acknowledging a problem with systemic racism within the force. Pat Roche made that statement today after announcing the creation of an Indigenous Advisory Committee. Now, that's a sharp contrast to the comments Roche made to CBC almost a year ago. Here now's Mark Quinn has that story.
The Advisory Committee does provide a new forum for Indigenous voices to be heard, and it's one that didn't exist yesterday.
This province's Indigenous-led coalition, First Voice, says today's announcement is good news.
We know that some members of Indigenous communities may be skeptical about today's announcement. First Voice understands your skepticism, but we assure you that our participation depends on this committee being fully transparent and accountable to Indigenous people.
Last October, First Voice released a report called Building Trust, Restoring Confidence. In keeping with the recommendations it made, Campbell said there must be more far-reaching changes.
We also want to be clear that an advisory committee is no substitute for a civilian-led police oversight board, one that is empowered by law to provide comprehensive, proactive, high-level policy direction to police. First Voice remains firm in our position that the provincial government must implement systemic legislative changes to restore confidence in policing over the longer term.
RNC Chief Pat Roche says the advisory committee announced today signals that the force recognizes there is need for change. And Roche is now saying the police force does have a systemic racism problem.
I would be remiss if I said it didn't exist. It's existed in our society. We are part of our society. So therefore, by definition, it is a part of our organization.
That's a long way from what Roche said last July. At that time, when asked if there was a systemic racism problem at the RNC, Roche replied, "No, I don't believe there is, and I'll leave it at that." When asked today why his response has changed, Roche replied, "Education."
We are taking the steps to learn from First Voice and this coalition, to listen to their lived experiences, how we as a police organization can be better in what we do and how we serve the public that we do serve across this province and in Labrador, and to train and educate our members, myself included.
Still, Chief Pat Roche wouldn't say if he supports First Voice's call for a civilian-led police oversight board. Mark Quinn, CBC News, St. John's.